we're going to go. We're going to start with opening statements today. State, you're going to come up, you're going to give your opening statement. So you address the jury. This is your jury. Right. When they're done, defense, you're going to come up and you're going to give your opening statement. If we have time, remember opening statements are brief. Then you can start calling witnesses. And then depending on how long it takes, you know, we'll stop a few minutes before the bell rang. Last week we ran right up to the bell because they were in it. All right. So, do you have any questions before we start the segment?
Which one's this? Ain't like a...
This is the state. They're prosecuting. This is the defense table.
Okay.
Elizabeth here is the defendant.
So we're just doing
It's like law and order.
No, we go as far as we can there.
It is like law and order.
So, this trial, ladies and gentlemen, second degree murder is the charge that you're going to be asked to listen to. So, defense, feel free to converse. State, you feel free to converse as you need to during the trial. Just be mindful, okay? I can, best buffer I can between you and the jury. So don't talk too loud so they can hear you. You guys, you're kind of at a little bit of a disadvantage because you got the jury right in your back pocket. So if you guys need to talk, just kind of make sure you don't talk loud enough for the jurors to hear you. Okay? All right. Here we go. State, are you ready to proceed?
Yep.
All right. Opening statements, please.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, my name is James Betza, prosecutor for the state of Florida. Allow me to introduce my co-counsel, Prince, forgot your last name.
Yeah.
Ansel. Right.
Yeah.
Crime we have today was an act of cold blood. It was not necessary given the circumstances, and the defendant, Joan Mansfield, should be held accountable for her actions. So what happened? One day in a convenience store, the defendant, Joan Mansfield, and a man named Morris Smithfield got into an argument while waiting in line to buy their stuff. Things got heated, and they went outside and started yelling at each other some more. Then Mansfield took out a gun and shot Smithfield in the chest 4 times and stood over his body as he lay dead, dying. We will prove that this was an act of murder. It was cold-blooded, and she should be held accountable. The defense will try to argue that it was an act of self-defense, but we will prove that it in fact wasn't, and it was not necessary given the circumstances. It may have been provoked, but it was excessive force. That is why we ask you, the jury, to find Joan Mansfield guilty of murder in the second degree. That's it.
Okay. Defense, your opening statement.
Do they clap in court?
No.
No.
Not even a little golf.
Oh, man.
You need to let Paisley say that. It's the golfer line.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the defense attorney for our defendant, Ms. Smithfield, we are going to be talking about how we feel like this should be self-defense of the murder of the victim, Mr. Smithfield, of the actions at the outside of the convenience store. We'll be talking with each witness and getting their side of the story to see if it lines up with how the defendant and the police statement goes. And we will be checking and trying to see if we can get to the truth. And we truly believe that it is a self-defense.
Very good. All right, Sue, you ready to call your first witness? Okay. Who's your first witness?
We'd like to call Homer Simpson, please stand.
Homer Simpson, very good.
James, where are you from?
Or Mark Simpson.
Who's Mark Simpson?
I'll get you with.
He said Mark or Homer.
Come on.
Mark Simpson.
I said Homer Simpson. Like Mark,
Yep.
Well, before you say it, raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Be seated. State your name for the court.
Alright, so. Who was the first person to talk in the argument between Mansfield and Smithfield? Okay. When you saw Smithfield and Mansfield fighting outside the store, did you see Smithfield holding anything besides what he bought in the store?
A pipe in his hand.
Okay. Can I bring that into evidence?
No.
Okay, I'd like to bring this into evidence as exhibit A. Is this the pipe that Smithfield was holding?
Yes.
At any point did it appear as if Smithfield was threatening Mansfield's life?
Yes.
Okay, what did Mansfield do after shooting Smithfield?
He just stood there and did nothing. He just stood there over the dead body.
He stood there over the dead body. Doesn't that appear as if he was not acting in self-defense? Because I know if I were killing somebody, I would probably, in self-defense, I would probably run away and shot.
Yeah, that's his. I don't know. I was just standing there in the gas station. I was just.
Alright, that's it.
Defense your witness.
Miss Simpson, is it correct in your statement to police you heard them say in the lines, "Hey buddy, back of the line," and then they answered, "Is it?" And then Smithfield answered, "Why don't you go F yourself?"
Yes.
So you could tell already that Smithfield was already angry, correct?
Yes.
Is it correct that you saw Smithfield starting to get more agitated times too?
Yes.
When Mansfield left the convenience store, how did you think it was gonna happen? Like when you saw Smithfield outside?
I mean, he looked angry. I thought nothing. I thought there was no argument, not him killing him. I just thought there was no argument, nothing more than that.
Okay. After both Mansfield and Smithfield left and you said to police, you saw them start yelling at each other again. Is that also correct?
Yes.
When you saw Smithfield push Mansfield to the ground, did you actually see that?
Yes.
What was in his hand?
It looked like a metal pipe, maybe something like that.
Did you see Smithfield go towards Mansfield with that instrument?
Yes.
That's all.
Steve, do you have anything that you want to follow up on?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, I think.
How can you be
Okay,
sure?
if you're gonna question the court, young man, gotta stand and address the court.
You say that he was holding like a metal pipe, like something. How can you be sure that what he held was a metal pipe instead of the groceries he just bought?
Because the groceries would have been in a bag, not a metal pipe in his hand. There's a difference between holding a grocery bag and holding a pipe in your hand.
Dang. All right, I'm sitting down.
Thank you, Ms. Simpson. You're excused.
I'm here for you.
Who's your next witness?
Okay.
So who shot who? Mansfield got shot?
Mansfield shot
This
Smithfield.
is Mansfield, and she shot Smithfield.
Okay.
So she's Smithfield?
No, she's Mansfield.
These were the worst names.
Yeah, they're like right, they're the same.
The field part, yeah, yeah.
I don't even know.
Mansfield. So Mansfield is a murderer. Wilkinson shot Smithfield. I know what that is, guys. Okay, alright, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yeah.
Okay, you see? If you could, state your name for the court, please.
I am Adrian.
So, Adrian, what did you see when you walked to the store?
I saw two men arguing.
Two men arguing. Was that one of them?
Actually, it's a female.
Zach.
In this role, in this class,
That's a little big, sir.
in this class, it's a female arguing with a man.
Yeah, okay. It's a female arguing with a man. Was that that the defendant, one of those?
Yes.
Okay. The other person was a man, correct? Was he holding anything?
I saw he was holding something. I couldn't tell what it was.
Can I grab that? Did it look anything like this?
I did not see it. I thought it was a gun because I heard shots right after.
So, wait, she was holding that?
Oh, Jit, the other guy.
That's the
Jury's gotta be quiet.
That's Mansfield. Asked you, was Smithfield holding it?
That's the shooter. Who is the alleged shooter?
Smithfield.
Mansfield.
Mansfield.
Smithfield. Did you see Smithfield holding anything?
No, I did not.
So Smithfield was not holding this.
Not that I was aware of.
Did you hear Smithfield saying?
I heard that they were arguing, but I wasn't really paying attention to what they were arguing about.
So you couldn't hear any phrases that they said. Did Smithfield say?
Hearsay.
What grounds? Hearsay.
Hearsay.
Sustained. Next question.
Okay. So at any point did it seem like Mansfield's life was in danger?
I didn't think it was. I heard gunshots.
Mansfield was the shooter.
So, okay. Why did they put
What grounds?
up
What
bullets?
grounds? What ground? Did you
You
say
just
that?
objecting for fun.
Alright. Go ahead, continue.
Okay, then finally, what did Mansfield do after shooting Smithfield?
It doesn't say that in my package. He looked down at him while the other guy fell.
Okay, that's all.
As you were walking into the store, is it true that you told police that you saw Smithfield with a big weapon in her hand?
Well, I didn't see what it was at the time, but then I heard gunshots, so yeah, probably the gun.
So you never saw like a metal pipe or anything?
I did not see the metal pipe.
You said you heard the gunshots and saw Smithfield fall to the ground. You said in your statement to police you saw Smithfield with the gun, so that is true that you saw him with the gun. But you couldn't see the other guy with the weapon.
I did not see if the other guy had any weapons.
Did you see Smithfield walk towards Mansfield?
So they were already standing across from each other when they were arguing.
What was the two's behaviors like at the moment? Like you saw them, what was it like?
So they were kind of angry at each other. They were yelling really loudly.
What did the duration of the incident look like after Mansfield shot Smithfield?
Well, Smithfield fell to the floor.
Steve, do you have anything else on the phone?
No.
Okay.
Can we call another witness, Becky?
You want to recall?
Yes.
Sure.
We're gonna recall. I'd like to enter in our interview with Mark Simpson as evidence. So,
I'm so confused. Interview. Hold on.
we interviewed Mark Simpson.
Okay.
We'd like to enter that in as evidence.
Have you cleared that with, have you given that to the defense?
We interviewed,
What are you entering as evidence?
we asked her questions and
The question.
Not so much on him.
Okay. So, do you want to enter the notes that you took while you're interviewing her?
yes. We just wrote down what questions we were asking and the answers.
Okay, for what purpose do you want to put it in the record?
Because we asked her similar questions in that interview to what we asked her on the stand, and she answered completely differently every time, both times.
Okay.
Dang. What?
Okay, well, I got this. You don't need to enter your notes. You can't enter your notes because
Okay.
under discovery, you haven't disclosed those to the defense, correct?
Okay.
So if you are challenging her on her statements
Yes.
compared to what she told the police and then what she told you in the interview out there, then this is the time and place that you need to confront her. You need to clarify that in the stand, that way the jury can hear what's going on.
Alright.
Because I'm not gonna give them a copy of your notes.
Okay, can I do that then?
Yeah, go
Alright.
ahead.
So, Ms. Simpson, when we interviewed you and asked, when you saw Smithfield and Mansfield fighting outside the store, did you see Smithfield holding anything? You know, when we interviewed you, you said no.
I said yes.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. I looked dead at both of you and I said yes, he was holding the weapon.
Objection,
What ground?
Badger.
Sustained.
That's a badger.
Don't badger the witness, which means don't harass the witness.
Uh,
Or you confrontational with the witness, counselor. Ask your question and if she answers, then you know. It'll be up to the jury to decide whether or not she's consistent with her statements.
Yeah, I think that's.
So you also said no. You said no to when we asked if you had a mental pipe. You said no when we asked if it appeared as if Smithfield was threatening Mansfield's life. But now you came in front of the jury and you said the complete opposite of those answers. Why did you do that?
I said yes to all my answers.
This doesn't say so.
No, that's
She said yes.
Hey,
Alright,
hey, jury,
that's all.
jury. Okay, thank you, Candace. We'll see you after all. Okay,
The thing is,
yeah, but,
Your Honor,
but do you understand what I'm saying? You can't interview,
Yeah, no, I
you
understand.
can't interview notes based on your.
yeah, no, I
What
understand.
you do is you ask her like you did, okay, you're saying this now, but you said this then.
Yeah.
That's what you do. If you have any other evidence, you have to give it to the other side so they can see it before trial time.
But
Is there
if-
somebody else that you wanna call today?
No.
So, he's your last witness?
No. For now.
Sometimes there's no witnesses.
So Harmon's your last witness?
Yes.
So you wanna call, you're for sure you wanna call him next?
Yes.
Alright. Court's in recess until tomorrow during the 7th period. Back to your seats. We've had some very good trials so far today.
What did it do today?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I don't think there's really anything other than that for today.
So, hey, you're gonna make friends that
You have any other questions before we get started, State? Okay. Yesterday, we stopped at, okay, State wanted to call no one to the stand.
No.
You still want to do that? Yep, okay.
Yeah, it's okay. I didn't need to on that part. I did on that part.
Okay, remember, jury and audience, I need you to be quiet, no phones, pay attention, because as you see, we had some jury members out today, so. Mr. Munster, have you given testimony yet? Okay, so please stand. Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Okay, state your witness, go ahead.
Mr. Munster, what did you see as you were pulling up to the evidence?
Mansfield and Smithfield were like talking.
Were they like yelling anything? Was like, no? So like, did you see anything that either of them was holding? No.
are you? Okay, officer, please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear to tell the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, have a seat.
So, when you found Morris Smithfield lying on the ground dead, what was he holding on to?
Something else.
Did you see this pipe?
Yes.
Was it lying near Smithfield or somewhere else?
Yes.
How close?
I would say somewhere around her head.
Okay. How many gunshot wounds did Smithfield have?
4.
Can I enter these equipment? Were these the bullets used?
Show them to the jury.
Oh.
Tell the jury what you got.
These are these.
Okay, here's where we stand. So when we get started, the crime scene defense has one more witness to call. She's here today. Do you have anybody else other than? Then after they interview Ms. Simpson, then we're going to start going into closing arguments. So if my role players, my crime scene tag, other role players, no. Out. Outside. Emily's already out there. Okay. Court's back in session, jury.
Objection, Your Honor.
Objection? Objection.
One of the witnesses just left their phone there.
Well,
Why is that cheating?
yeah, she's listening.
I just watched her.
Okay.
I just watched her.
Okay. Okay, you've already been sworn in, yes? Yeah, okay. You're still under oath. Counsel, your witness.
Marxism, could you tell me a little about your background, your involvement in this case?
I was working at the convenience store, just doing my daily job, and the 2 guys walked in the line. They were standing there, one cut, and they both started arguing. Then they each paid for their stuff separately, and then they walked out, started arguing, and I couldn't hear anything. And then after that, I had a gunshot, and then the woman was laying down on the floor.
Okay. So, did there come a time when you felt Mansfield could be in danger from Smithfield when she walked out of the store?
Maybe like how he was standing outside, maybe, but other than that, not really.
How did Mansfield look after he came out of the store from hearing the gunshots?
He looked scared, like nothing, I don't know.
Okay, that's it.
That's it? Okay. State, do you have anything for this witness?
Yes. Alright. So, actually, never mind.
Nothing? Okay. Thank you, Ms. Simpson. Okay.
I realized midway. I realized midway through that.
All right, at this point, do you have anybody else that you want to call? No? Okay. So defense rest, state rested the other day. So now we're going into closing arguments. So at this stage, defense, you go first. Give your closing arguments, closing statements to the jury. So jury, it's real important at this point that you guys pay attention to what's been said. Then when they get done, the state's going to give their closing statements or arguments, right? And then after that, we'll do the jury, okay? So defense, go ahead with your closing statements.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the defense has proved time and again that the defendant acted in self-defense and that she is not guilty. You heard from Simpson and Balboa.
Who dares interrupt my court?
Oh, there's something.
Oh, welcome. Disorder. Okay, go ahead.
Alright. You heard from Simpson and Balboa, who both gave their accounts of the arguments between Mansfield and Smithfield. And you heard from Munster, who saw that Mansfield was in shock and panic, standing over the body of Smithfield. You heard from the CSI, who found the concealed carry permit, who was on Mansfield after the shooting. And you heard from the cop, who saw the defendant after the shooting, when she was shell-shocked. And after she was taken into the interview, she was helpful, she was cooperative, and did everything that she could to tell the truth. And then we heard from the defendant, who was assaulted and battered multiple times before the shooting by a man bigger and stronger than she was. She acted in self-defense. She was in imminent danger, and there was nothing else she could do. Especially after Smithfield said that he was, quote, going to kill her while holding a weapon. When interviewed, she was cooperative and incredibly remorseful. Ladies and gentlemen, the state will try and tell you that 4 shots was excessive. This is false. The defendant is not a trained killer. She has no military experience. She doesn't know what shots are going to kill somebody. All she did was panic and react. Ladies and gentlemen, I implore you, come to the right decision. Declare Miss Mansfield not guilty.
All right, state your closing arguments. All right, here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Mansfield is idle.
Good. I'll do it. I'll do it.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I was so tired, bro.
All right, go ahead.
I was so sorry, dude. I cannot do it.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. I don't know what Prince is doing there, but what we know about this case. Mansfield shot Smithfield 4 times. We've heard that from multiple people. That is excessive force. She also claims she was under stress, but that doesn't excuse her actions. We also know she owns a gun legally, so that means she would be prepared for life-threatening situations like this, right? So how can she say that shooting Smithfield 4 times is okay because she was under stress? She had to train in order to use a gun properly. That is not properly. And just because she was under stress doesn't excuse her knowledge about how to properly go about things. That's why, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I urge you to find Joan Mansfield guilty of second-degree murder.
All right, very good. All right. All right, so now we're going to go to jury deliberations. So, I'm going to ask y'all and you guys step outside, and when you do that, tell the role players that are outside they can come in.
Prince, get out.
Whose phone was it? Whose phone?
Is that one broken?
Prosecutors have been pursuing the charge of second-degree murder in this case. Second-degree murder. So I need to read you the jury instructions. These are the actual jury instructions that judges give the juries before they deliberate. So, before you can find the defendant guilty of second-degree murder, the state, which is Prince and James, must prove the following 3 elements beyond a reasonable doubt. 1 out of 3, 2 out of 3, it has to be all 3 elements beyond a reasonable doubt. Number 1, that Smithfield is dead. 2, that the death was caused by the criminal act of Mansfield. And 3, there was an unlawful killing of Smithfield by an act imminently dangerous to another and demonstrating a depraved mind without regard for human life. Okay. Let me give a couple other definitions to help you. An act includes a series of related actions arising from and performed pursuant to a single design or purpose. An act is, quote, imminently dangerous to another and demonstrating a depraved mind if it is an act or series of acts that ordinary judgment would know is reasonably certain to kill or do serious bodily injury to another, is done from ill will, hatred, spite, or evil intent, and is of such a nature that the act itself indicates an indifference to human life. So, jury, in order for you to convict on second-degree murder, it is not necessary for the state to prove the defendant. In order to convict second-degree murder, it is not necessary for the state to prove the defendant had intent to cause death. So, jury, do you have any questions on any of that? I know that was kind of a lot. But the main thing that you need to remember is the state has to prove those 3 points beyond a reasonable doubt. The victim's dead. The death was caused by the criminal act of Mansfield, and that the unlawful killing of Smithfield by an act imminently dangerous of another and demonstrating a depraved mind without regard for human life. So, here's what we're going to do. You 12 people in these first 2 rows here. And you want to go in for a bonus? Sorry, put you on spot. Alright, so you 12 people, these first 2 rows, you're the jury. So, I want you to select a foreman who's kind of like the boss of it. He's going to kind of guide things, go, take the votes, kind of coordinate everything. And then I want you guys to talk amongst yourselves, ask each other questions, and kind of decide on your verdict. It's either going to be guilty, and if you vote guilty, it has to be unanimous. All of you have to vote guilty. If it's not unanimous, then the vote is not guilty. Or you can vote unanimously that she's not guilty, whichever. Does that make sense? You understand? Okay. So do you guys have any, now I'm just going to kind of step back, let you guys do your thing. Don't rush it. You got plenty of time. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me along the way. Do you have any questions you want to ask me now before we begin? Liberty.
Right, into like the James Will case. Okay, so he was not guilty. Yeah, well, it's still not guilty. You guys are the jury. You still play or just
Okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is the first unanimous not guilty verdict, which is it's awesome.
6 or 7 children.
No comments from the jury to the left. No matter how sure it might be. Okay. My understanding, jury, we have a verdict?
Yes, we do, Your Honor.
Okay. Counsel, Ms. Mansfield, can you please stand? Jury? And face the jury. All right, Mr. Foreman, can you please rise and give your verdict?
We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty.
All right, Ms. Mansfield, you've been found not guilty by a jury of your peers. You're free to go, ma'am. Oh, all right. Good job. Very good job. I got 2 jury seats over here.
I better not like these things to go out.
Okay, your You are now. This isn't a request. We gotta
Not
get
even
going.
that big of a deal.
But she just walked up to her 2 seats.
Okay, now this is two jurors. And this is why I'm. Okay, I appreciate that. All right.
After both Mansfield and Smithfield left and you stayed to police, you saw them start to yell at each other again. Is that also correct?
Yes.
When you saw Smithfield push Mansfield,
Was a man, correct? Was he holding anything? We asked her similar questions in that interview to what we asked her on the stand, and she answered completely differently every time. Both times.
Okay, officer, please raise your hand. You saw me. And he will